What's up guys, it's your boy Damnboitv, back with another video. Today I want to talk about world buffs, and which order I get them and why I get them that way. First off, I want to say this guide is meant for warriors primarily. Rogues can use it as well, of course. Before we get started on the order of which way we're going to get world buffs, I want to recommend this add-on called Nova World Buffs 2. Basically what it does is when you click on Orgrim or Stormwind on the map, you'll be able to see if there's a timer on the Onyxia or Nefarian head at the current time and when it's going off cooldown. That way you have a chance of knowing approximately when it's gonna go off. Also, most realms nowadays have discords where they tell when the buffs are gonna be popped. So if you don't have that discord already, make sure to get it. On top of that, it can also show you what buffs you have on what characters on your specific account. You just do /buffs and it will give you this window, as you can see here, the current world buffs, the timers, what buffs you have, and etc. Last but not least, if you go to Felwood on your map, you can also see where the Songflower spawn locations are. You can see the cooldown of them if they've recently been taken. They have 25 minutes spawn time, by the way. So you can log on a different character and you can watch the map, and then you can see when you have to log on, unless your guildies are telling you in chat. Now let's get to those sweet world buffs. So my priority here is to get the 2-hour buffs first and then get the 1-hour buffs in the end. And you want to get the best 1-hour buffs the latest, of course, so you have them for as long as possible while you're raiding. Not everybody does 50-minute Blackening Lair runs and such. So to start out with, we have Blasted Land buffs. Here you can get 2 consumables. First you have Rage of Ages. It's a repeatable quest where you need to turn in 3 Snickerfang Jaw, 2 blasted boar lungs, 1 Scorpion Pincher. This rewards you with R.O.I.D.S, a consumable that's unique, so you can only have 1 of them on you at a time, which gives you 25 strength when consumed. But if you wipe, it disappears, of course, like any other buff, except Blast, of course. If you should wipe, you can always also get the 25 agility consumable. It's the same quest guy. It has some different materials you need to get the reward. You need 3 Scorpion Pincher, 2 Ultra Gizzard, and 1 Blast Forlong. So almost the same. So just in case of a wipe, you can use this 25 agility since you've already used your R.O.I.D.S when you had the world buffs. After Blasted Lands, I always use my Nomus Transporter and I go to Tenaris. From there I go to Feraless and I get my DM North tribute buffs. So the reason why I do this first is it's a 2-hour buff and it is the most dangerous one to get because there's always hordes outside and it's just risky. So if you die, you can just run in and you haven't lost any buffs or anything. In Maul we get 3 buffs, only 2 of them are useful. We get Mulder's Moxie, which increases your overall stamina by 15%. We get Fengus Ferocity, which increases your attack power by 200. And for casters there's a buff called Slipkick Savvy, which increases your critical hit with spells by 3%. I always get all 3 buffs because should I at some point get dispelled, Slipkick Savvy is hopefully the first one that they're gonna dispel. So I just have it as a buffer, basically. After getting the last buff here in Maul, I Heartstone and fly to Booty Bay. So the CG buff, Spirit of Zandalar, is a buff that increases movement speed by 10% and all stats by 15% for 2 hours. If you want, you can get this first before Maul. It's up to you. I feel like Maul first and then CG is safer. So this buff has no cooldown. It is popped almost every 15 minutes during the evenings because everybody's doing CG and want their trinkets. Once again, you want to have a Discord if you don't want to risk getting dispelled or anything and standing around too long to lose your buffs. Look at the Discords, check when somebody's gonna pop it and log in like 30 seconds before it's gonna be popped. Another thing you can do is also be on a second character down in Booty Bay and you have 30 seconds from when the buff is announced to log in on your guy that's getting the buffs. You can also get this buff at the island in Stranglehorn Vale, but going to Booty Bay I feel like is the safer choice. Prefer to go there when there's a lot of other alliances, maybe your guild or something like that, so you don't get dispelled from your DM buffs, that is. Next up in line is the Onyxia / Nefarian buff. This is the 4th buff we're going to be getting, and it increases your critical strike chance of spells by 10%, melee and range by 5%, and grants 140 attack power. This is another 2-hour buff. To get this buff you have to stay in Stormwind, and like mentioned earlier, Nova World Buffs tells you when this is off cooldown and when it can be popped. As mentioned, Discords usually tell when these are going to be popped. Usually they get popped around noon and pop around evening before raids. The Onyxia head has 6 hours cooldown and the Nefarian head has 8 hours. What you can do if somebody screwed it up and popped it at an inappropriate time is you can get a Horde priest to come and mind control the NPC outside by the gates, and you can kill this NPC, and that way after 7 minutes when he respawns it has reset the cooldown timer. The same goes for Hordes, of course, it's just the other way around. They get an Alliance priest to come and mind control the NPC, and the NPC respawns after 7 minutes and then resets the cooldown. The next buff we're going to be getting is the Darkmoon Faire buff. Sage Dark Fortune of damage, which increases your damage by 10%. This is a 2-hour buff, but this buff has an internal cooldown on your character which is 4 hours. That means if you die after getting this buff, you need to wait 4 hours logged in on your character to get it again. The Darkmoon Faire buff is available 1 week each month. The first Friday in each month, the Darkmoon Faire will be starting to set up their camp. The following Monday, the buffs will be available. The week after on Monday, they're going to disappear and come back the next month. On top of that, each month, the location of the Darkmoon Faire will swap between Elven Forest, as you see in the video here, and Mulgore. So a few things to note is that when you're taking an Elven Forest, you don't want to exit Stormwind till you're non-PP flagged. So wait 5 minutes for that while you're logged in, and you can go take the buff without getting attacked or purged by hordes. When it is in Mulgore, it's a bit more of a hassle, and what we do, we summon all our mains directly to Mulgore with ults and stuff, and then we go together as a team of 30 man or the like, and we get the buff and we portal away from there as fast as possible. The next buff we're gonna get is a 1-hour buff. It's called Songflower Serenade. It increases your chance for melee, ranged or spell critical by 5% and all attributes by 15 for an hour. The way I get this buff is I get summoned by a summon bot to Felwood, to one of the specified locations in Felwood, as you saw earlier on Nova World Buffs. What we do then is we get everybody who's getting the buffs in the same raid, and then we do a Deadly Boss Mods timer. As long as everybody who clicks at 0.0 when the timer runs out, it is more or less 99% sure that everybody is getting it, as long as they clicked at the appropriate time. The next and the second last buff we're gonna get is Warcheese Blessing. This increases your hit points by 300, it gives you 15% haste to melee attacks, and 10 mana regen every 5 seconds. This buff has an hour duration, and it is actually a horde buff. It is a bit more time consuming to get this. I don't get it for all raids personally, but I'm gonna strive to do that now, because it's just more fun, and it gives you around 150 DPS increase in a 1 minute fight. Anyway, to get this buff, you have to stand in either Crossroads or in Orgrimmar, and then you need to communicate with a Horde Priest to come and mind control you as this buff goes out. The reason for this is when they mind control you, you become one of their allies, and that way you can get the buff when it goes out. And the buff has 3 hours cooldown as well. If you get an Orgrimmar, I recommend you go in from the back entrance from Ashara, and you stand at this specific spot that I show you here on the map. There is around 5 guards you need to kill to get in here though, but I had to change it up because we had some horde that was ganking us like mad in Crossroads, so I had to go to Orgrimmar. But that is just what it is, you know, gotta adapt. The 8th and the last buff we're gonna be getting is the UBRS Fire buff. This buff gives you either 81 fire resistance or 83. It all depends on what level the spellbinder is that you mind control. So if you pick a level 54 spellbinder, it's only going to give you 81 fire resistance. If you pick a level 55, it's going to give you 83 fire resistance. The one I pick here in the video is the level 54 one. 2 fire resistance, sure it matters, but it's not that big of a hassle. Either way, the way to get it is you pull this pack and you mind control the spellbinder, the one that's marked with the moon, and he does interrupt, so cast a heal and let him interrupt that and then do the mind control. But when you get him mind controlled, you are going to be able to use his abilities and you're going to pick the friendly player of your choice that needs this buff. The buff has a 35-second cooldown. So if you are buffing the entire raid, don't let everybody log in at the same time because you can't just insta buff everybody. When that is done, you are ready to raid, you're ready to go nuts on those parses, and you are ready to blast. World buffs does really make a huge difference in your DPS in raids. So if you want to have some more fun in raids, definitely get all the world buffs and blast your way through it. Anyway, that concludes the world buff guide for warriors. I hope you all enjoyed the video. I hope you could use it. If you have any questions or the like, feel free to throw me a comment down below. You can also go join my Discord or check out my stream. I stream 3 to 4 days a week. Feel free to come in there, chat with me, ask any questions you have. As always, make sure to throw me a like, a sub and a comment down below. It would be greatly appreciated and it definitely helps me keep on going. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a damn great day.